If we turn our backs and spit in his face, is God still gonna bless the USA?
Late one night, a man had gone to a party and had too much to drink, so he decided he had best walk home. He found a shortcut through a poorly lit cemetery and in the darkness stumbled into an open grave. He repeatedly tried to climb out, but the walls were too slippery and he fell back in. Finally, in exhaustion, he settled in a corner to wait for sunlight. A few minutes later, another man in the similar condition was cutting through the cemetery and fell in the grave. He too tried desperately to climb and claw his way out, and he was equally unsuccessful. As he was about to give up in the hopeless resignation he had, he heard the first man's voice from the darkness of the pit. He said, "You may as well give up. You'll never get out of here." But he did. Greetings, Patriots. I'm Perry Green. This is God in America. Satan often offers us shortcuts in this life, and when we take them, he entraps us, giving us the feeling we have no hope. We must endure the consequences of our choices, but God provides an ultimate solution for our deviations from his instructions. After creating Adam, God placed him in the garden and then fashioned Eve. He gave them authority and directed them to tend and guard their paradise. He gave the pair one restriction: of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. The Lord limited their knowledge and how to obtain it. Perhaps he intended to gradually reveal the information they needed as they needed it. He does the same with us. We don't glean all understanding from the Bible the first time we read it. We gain a little at a time as the Holy Spirit enables us to comprehend. We generally like shortcuts and our get-rich-quick schemes to save time and energy. The serpent offered Eve a fast track to being like God and knowing the secrets. Genesis 3:4 explains, "Then the serpent said to the woman, 'You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil.' She took the bait. And not to be outdone, Adam followed suit. Sin and the consequence of death entered the world, throwing mankind off course and away from God. I've read a non-canonical book called First Enoch. Whether it should be included among the 66 biblical books is a topic scholars have debated for years. Regardless, the first century biblical writers were familiar with the book. According to the manuscript, God appointed angels to oversee humanity according to countries. Some of the servant spirits rebelled, usurping his position and authority among their subjects. This resulted in idolatry and worshiping the spirits behind the images. Over time, these fallen watchers began dispensing unauthorized knowledge to people. First Enoch 8 lists some of their contributions. These shortcuts included making weapons from metal, teaching women how to use mirrors, make jewelry, and makeup, leading them into immorality. They taught enchantments and cutting, astrology, including the knowledge of the moon and cloud formations. The devil offered Jesus a convenient way of establishing his kingdom over the nations. If Christ had bowed to the enemy, he could have had every nation on earth without the fuss of the cross. The Lord declined. There are no shortcuts in serving the living God. Imagine your greatest earthly aspiration of wealth, power, control, gratification, or fame. While God tells us to trust him for our daily bread, the adversary tempts us to bypass God and take an easier path. If you had the opportunity to get what you wanted easily and quickly by serving Satan, would you? Hundreds of celebrities have purportedly done this very thing. Some entertainers are said to have made a deal with the devil and exchanged their souls for the ability to perform. Robert Johnson is said to have cooperated with the devil so he could play the guitar on stage. Witnesses say there was a stark difference before and after his satanic contract. Others include Bob Dylan, Ozzy Osbourne, Taylor Swift, and some professional athletes. I've wondered about some of our elected officials. I doubt all the corrupt politicians have sold their souls to Satan, but when they go into office on one level of income and leave as multimillionaires, we might suspect some suspicious supernatural intervention. No doubt some are smooth inside traitors, but one way or another they have taken unauthorized shortcuts to gain the world. James 1:15 reminds us, then when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, brings forth death. Death is ultimately eternal separation from God. Massachusetts passed the Old Deluder Satan Act in 1647, laying the basis for public schools in America. The Puritans valued literacy highly. They believed all individuals should be able to read the Bible for themselves. Thus, they would not be deluded by the adversary. Conversely, we allowed the unelected Supreme Court to remove the Bible from our schools, and look at the catastrophic results decades later. Dr. Benjamin Rush also favored the public schools teaching the scriptures. Here are two prominent quotes. First, he said, I know there's an objection among many people to teaching children doctrines of any kind because they're liable to be converted. But let us not be wiser than our Maker. If moral precepts alone could have reformed mankind, the mission of the Son of God into all the world would have been unnecessary. The perfect morality of the gospel rests upon the doctrine which, though often controverted, has never been refuted. I mean, the vicarious life and death of the Son of God. And then secondly, he said, the Bible, when not read in schools, is seldom read in any subsequent period of life. It should be read in our schools in preference to all other books, from its containing the greatest portion of that kind of knowledge which is calculated to produce private and public temporal happiness. Well, thanks for being with us today. As we close, let's keep the light of following God's lead burning.